G'day cocktail lovers, I hope you've been keeping well. We've all got our challenges around the world, dealing with COVID, wildfires in the US, civil war in some parts of the world. There are a lot of challenges, and maybe it's a bit flippant, but I found making cocktails at the very least a distraction, but not to excess. Kind of like Surly Duff in The Simpsons saying, drink responsibly, drink responsibly. So not overdoing it. But I have a bit of a theme this week. Its name is going to be classic cocktails, but a colour change, so they're not looking like what you'd expect. This was inspired, basically two different Australian cocktail channels did green Pina Coladas in 1 week with slight variations. Steve the Bartender, the premier YouTube cocktail maker in Australia, he made one with green Chartreuse, and on Let's Talk Drinks, George made one with Absinthe. And I just thought, I want to try both of those and see what I like. And then I also found a few other variations that I will be showing you later in the week of some classic cocktails. But this video, it's Pina Colada time. And a Mexican friend of mine online said, no, say Pina. You're not being a wanker. I was worried if I didn't just say Pina Colada, I was being a bit of a wanker. He goes, no, that's how you pronounce it, Pina. So it's a Pina Colada, a green Pina Colada, greener Colada, Pina Verde, however you want to do it. But yeah, so I'm going to try both recipes. Besides one's green Chartreuse and one's Absinthe, also the ratios were a bit different, and I'm going to follow the ratios in the recipe that Steve and George both used. Should come up with two really quite different drinks, and I'm very keen to try them. First up, I'm going to do Steve the Bartender's green Chartreuse Pina Colada. There's often a bit of argument over what sort of rum is best in Pina Colada. Usually people go with a light or white rum. I like to experiment with different rums myself, but the argument settled in this case because there's no rum going in. The green Chartreuse completely substitutes for the rum. So we're going to do 1.5 ounces, 45 mils of green Chartreuse is the first ingredient going into our green Pina Colada. Next up, I'm adding 45 mils of pineapple juice, freshly squeezed out of this can. Look, if you have the patience and the wherewithal to actually squeeze your own pineapple juice, more power to you. This has got no real artificial additives or preservatives in it. 100% pineapple juice, courtesy of the good people at Costco. And I'm going to add 45 mils of the pineapple juice into the cocktail shaker. We're also adding 3/4 of an ounce, 22.5 mils of cream of coconut. Now this is the thing you can buy in the shops. It's not coconut cream, it's cream of coconut. I've actually got some homemade cream of coconut. Might have actually been Steve's recipe I followed. It's absurdly easy to make. Cream of coconut is easy to get. Coconut cream, no, I'm getting that back to fun. Coconut cream is usually very easy to find in supermarkets. Cream of coconut can be more difficult, can be more expensive as well. But get coconut cream, 50% coconut cream, 50% sugar in a pot on a low heat. Don't boil it, just simmer it until you've mixed all the sugar in. Lo and behold, you have homemade cream of coconut with no preservatives. So it's all good and natural. Going in, putting 3/4 of an ounce of the cream of coconut into our drink. The final ingredient going in the cocktail for Steve's recipe is just 15 mils of lime juice to give it a bit of zing, bit of acidic balance, because it's going to be quite sweet with the cream of coconut and the pineapple juice. Should be an interesting mix between the herbal green Chartreuse, the sweet, and the tart from the lime juice. So final ingredient, 15 mils of lime juice. Now, a lot of people blend Pina Coladas. I'm not going to, because I don't have a very effective blender, and I also don't really like blended cocktails. I always worry they're going to dilute too quickly. So what I'm going to do, a lot of ice in the shaker, give it a good hard shake. Little tip, when you're doing any cocktail that's got like cream of coconut or milk or cream and an acidic juice in it, you need to shake really hard because the fruit juice will curdle the milk or cream content pretty much straight away. You have to shake it really hard to re-blend the elements. Plus, that gives you the bonus of having a nice foamy drink. So I'm going to exert myself for 15 or 20 seconds now. Now, in terms of serving, I'm going pretty non-traditional again. Pina Colada is normally served in a tall glass. Like I said, it's normally blended too. But I'm going to put it, I have this cut glass tiki goblet that I'm very fond of. And I've just chucked, again, rather than crushed ice, I've gone with just one big block of ice in there. I'm just being difficult. My theory is you go with what you want, not with what someone else tells you should do. So just using the Hawthorne strainer, because I'm not bothered about any potential shards of ice from the shaking getting in there. Unsurprisingly, a nice sort of foamy lime green. What I expected it to look like. The big question is, what does it taste like? Wow, that works really well. Oh, I mean, of course, underlying there's the sweetness of the pineapple and the cream of coconut, but just those herbal notes from the green chartreuse, it's not overpowering, and there's 45 mils of green chartreuse in there, but it doesn't overpower, but there's a really good balance. I'm a fan of the green chartreuse Pina Colada. Well, next up, the absinthe version. George's recipe for an absinthe Pina Colada has 45 mils of absinthe, which I thought sounded pretty full on. Also, my absinthe is blue and it's 80% alcohol. And I was wondering, should I scale that back? And I said, no, who dares wins. Also, it's a Friday night as I make this, so if I end up getting absolutely wasted, I don't have to get up early in the morning. So I am going to throw caution to the wind and put in 45 mils, 1.5 ounces of my absinthe. George's recipe had slightly less cream of coconut than Steve's, 20 mils as opposed to 22.5 mils. I'm just eyeballing it, so it's going to be somewhere in the region of 3/4 of an ounce of cream of coconut going in. George's recipe has much more pineapple juice than Steve's, and who am I to argue with a man with the experience that George has? I'm going to go with it. 120 mils of pineapple juice going in there, and I have to remember how much that is because it's more than 1 jigger's worth. But I'm a pretty smart guy. I'm going to work it out. 120 mils of pineapple juice going in. The final ingredient is lime juice. And again, George recommends more lime juice than Steve in his recipe. So it's a full ounce, 30 mils of lime juice. It's going to go into this version of a Pina Colada. All that's required now is some solid shaking to get everything mixed and nice and chilled and give us another nice foamy Pina Colada. I actually have 2 of these tiki goblets, which is another reason I chose it for the drink, so I could have matching drinks. And, well, they certainly look very different. The blue absinthe has made this a much brighter green drink. And imagine it's going to make it a quite different taste too. There's only one way to know for sure. Oh, this is much sweeter than your average absinthe cocktail, particularly something that's got 45 mils of absinthe in it. I have to admit, that first sip was with some trepidation. If you're not familiar with absinthe, it has a very strong licorice or aniseed flavour, and it's still coming through, but I can kind of understand why George went with more of the pineapple juice and more of the lime juice. That's really, you need to have some pretty strong elements to hold their own against absinthe. It is a very strong flavour. It's a flavour I like, but there's no denying it's a very strong flavour. Side by side, you can see the difference in the colour. The green Chartreuse is, by coincidence, that's a natural green colour. They proudly boast that they're basically the only green spirit or liqueur where the colour is natural. The blue Absinthe, definitely not a natural colour. But tasting them side by side, this actually only tastes to me a little bit different to a Pina Colada made with white rum. It's just got really light herbal notes in it. It's really quite pleasant. It is a very nice drink. And this one, oh, I like it a lot, but it's very much its own drink. It is, creamy with the coconut cream, with the pineapple. Does not taste like a Pina Colada. The undercurrent of the absinthe really can't be held back. I like it, but it's certainly something different. So if you want a bit of a variation on a Pina Colada, the green Chartreuse is a really nice substitute for the rum. And if you want something really different, yeah, go to town. Put some absinthe in. But yeah, as absinthe tends to be a very high proof spirit, depends who makes it. Green Chartreuse is 55% alcohol, 110 proof, so it's not shy. But yeah, absinthe can go a long way north of that, as in mine does, 80%, 160 proof. I'm going to have to sit down and drink these because I'm going to be quite worried I'll fall over if I stand up. This is going to keep me busy for a while. I hope you enjoyed seeing those variations, and I hope you come back. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Tell your friends about it, because there's a couple of interesting variations of classic cocktails coming up later this week as well. Be great if you were here for that. So yeah, subscribe, hit the notification so you know when I upload videos. And yeah, in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Are you willing to try an absinthe Pina Colada? Or what's your favourite substitution in a classic cocktail? You may be surprised by some of the ones coming up this week. I know I was when I found them, which is why I wanted to share them. But here I am, double fisting my green Pina Coladas. You'll have to leave me to my own devices now, and I'll just say cheers.